Well, good day there, folks. Today I'm gonna do a little video about the Lowe Alpine versus the ARWY bag from the Dutch Army. So stay tuned. Today I want to present to you two bags that a lot of people think that are the same bags, but are quite different actually, but still a lot the same. This is Lowe Alpine Stingray. This is the ARWY Stingray. They are both used by the Dutch Army. This one got introduced in 2003-ish, and quite soon from the Lowe Alpine Sting they went to the one made by the company ARWY. And I'll tell you a little bit about the differences. So yeah, that was an example of the Lowe Alpine Sting or Stingray. I believe actually the Sting is a different pack than the Stingray, but we'll leave that for just a whole other video. I'm gonna show you now, these are two ARWY Stings. So they're both the same size, but you can clearly see that there's a lot of color difference in the fabric already. And that's because the bag got developed after it was first introduced. Of course, there was a lot of complaints about them. We'll go over that later. And yeah, so they keep developing this bag, of course. It's a decent bag, but it's definitely not an Alpine Sting, so, or Lowe Alpine Sting. So yeah, and then as a bonus for you today, we're gonna go over this little pack here. This is actually a British backpack, so I'm gonna also talk a little bit about that one. What you can already see here is that there's a lot of sun reflection on the ARWY bag. This is the ARWY bag, and this is the Lowe Alpine. And you can see that was one of the complaints, that there was a lot of reflection from the sunlight, for starters. So and there's also smaller detail differences, like The grip handle here is in woodland. And then on the back here, there's a few buttons. This is the ARWY bag. You see there is nothing here. With the Lowe Alpine, the cam isn't really that good anymore, but there you go, Lowe Alpine, you see. So there's little differences there. You see, there's no tables on the... You can adjust this whole system here, that's exactly the same on both of the bags. It's just to adjust the height for your bag. And here you can see the labels in there. I think this is a 19, so I'm 180. You want your you want this part to be in the lower part of your back, right? Just a little bit above your butt. So those were two big differences that people sometimes fail to notice. Also, something they changed was the zippers for the day packs. As you can see, one you put them on the upside down and the other one on the upside. So they changed that around. So later the older models, they couldn't fit the day packs on there anymore. That's also a big difference. Then we go to these two side pouches here, the rocket pouches, or however you call those. And you can already see, even in those two pouches, that there's a lot of difference in them. Quite identical, the rest of that, but there's a molly strap, of course, so you can attach it to the front of your bag. If you have a couple of these, you can always get an extra 10 liter in that way, so that's useful. They just kept developing this ARWY bag, and they phased out these Lowe Alpine Stings. And the story was that soldiers that got issued with this bag from ARWY, of course they got the new bag. They were like, okay, this one's a little bit worn, so let's go with that. And then soon they found out they rather had a Lowe Alpine, and in some cases they even switched back to it. Some people yeah, they didn't want to use the ARWY bag, but that wasn't always possible, of course, and then you were stuck with it. So a little bit of the list of complaints that there were for this bag. There was the inside material here that let go way too easy, like the plastic coating inside. The hip belt was less supportive than the normal one. So the clips on it, they broke a lot easier, and the fabric was too thin and it reflected the sun, and you know, if you give a good rip on it, it would maybe break. And yeah, so in short, the Lowe Alpine was just a superior bag. And of course, Lowe Alpine, there is a lot of history to that. I mean, these guys have been developing bags since the 60s. They were mountaineers. They were three brothers. They were mountaineers, and they were mapping out new routes for people to hike on and that sort of stuff. And they were bothered by the external backpack frames that you had back in those days in the 60s, right? So they started developing a bag, and the first bag that they introduced was called the Expedition, and that was in 1976. What? 67? Yeah, 67. 1967. I always turn those numbers around. I don't know why, but yeah. So Greg Lowe, he introduced that bag, and they've been using that ever since, of course. And the other brother Jeff, he was more into the climbing. So, and they developed a lot of stuff like ice axes, ice screws, crampons, and belay devices, and all that sort of climbing gear. So they're not just there for the bags, but some people, they know that, of course. So yeah, I did some research. It's not that I knew all that, but I did a little bit of research into their company, and yeah, nice story to tell. So yeah, this bag was introduced in 2003 or something, and it's a 55 liter pack. And if you look at it, you can always get some more in, maybe. Definitely. Wait, take that away there. Like this, the bigger one, the Saracen, or however you pronounce that, it has a lid that can completely come off. So yeah, and the snow, like the snow cover, this cover is for snow, right? The black thing, so snow doesn't get in. It's not really a rain cover. You probably have that on you. So yeah, you can. This one, they say it's 120. I mean, clearly it's a lot bigger, right? But yeah, I use that to transport these bags here today. Oh yeah, that brings me to another point, actually, because there's clips on the bags, of course. Like this one has a quick release from. Let me put you down for a second. So there's a little difference as well there in the buckle. But the buckle is just a part, of course, and you can always change that out. If you don't like a buckle like this, you can always go for this buckle. Some people say, yeah, it's noisy, blah blah blah, when you close it, right? And well, it's just a matter of what you like, I guess, right? So this is the quick release one, and this is the normal release one. I don't know. I kind of like these buckles more than the defense one, but yeah, if I put it on my back, I don't care anymore. I'll just close it, and then as long as it supports me, it's fine. Just the buckle. But yeah, so what else can I tell you? So yeah, it's called the Sting. Its base weight is 3.4 kilogram for the Lowe Alpine, actually, and that's a difference that people sometimes like. And this one is only 2.8 kilograms because of the lighter material, of course. But yeah, you trade that little bit of weight for durability. And then there's the rocket pouches on the side, of course, like on this one here. Rocket pouches you can attach to the sides, which will give it another 20 liter extra. And if you really need a lot of space, you can of course attach one to the molly on the front here. But they both have molly and daisy chains. This is, I don't know if that's called a daisy chain actually, but these are daisy chains. They're not molly. This is molly. Yeah, so I don't know what else I can tell you. Big brother. So this guy is 120 liters with the rocket pouches, but the lid can come off, so you can definitely get it to 130-ish. Same goes for these packs, of course. They say it's 75 liter, like a 75 liter pack, but if you stuff more in it, you can definitely get it up to 80. Good example here again from the reflecting light. Yeah, not too good, but it definitely stands out. Right, so then our last but not least, this is a British patrol pack. it says petrol pack, 30 liters, DPM, IRR, infrared stuff, right? So infrared doesn't reflect on it that much. And I think this pack is from 2007, and they call it NI, so that stands for Northern Ireland. I guess they were doing some stuff there, and that's where this pack came from. So that's a 30 liter pack, a little bit of snow cover there, so you can definitely get a little bit more in. Then here's fixed pockets on the side. And they're about, I don't know, let's call it 6 liters. There's definitely not 10 liters. So in total this whole pack is a 30 liter pack. Yeah, let me show you a little bit more about it. So there's daisy chains here on the side. There's daisy chain here on the front. There's daisy chain on the side of the pockets as well. On the bottom you have some loops for attaching your other gear, of course. There is a very simple hip belt, so there is a little hip belt on it. I don't think you need that for a pack this size, but yeah, shoulder straps, of course, really decent. There's a nice spacing between there. That's what you always have to look at for a backpack, of course. There has to be spacing here, otherwise it's trash anyway. So then the top here, there's also loops on the top, and there's extra loops here, so you can attach stuff to. And then on the front there is 2 zip pockets as well. One is a little bit flat, so probably for document or whatever. I don't really know, of course. And that's the other side of this, and then on top of that there's another one with good zippers, by the way, good strong zippers. And there's another 5 liter compartment there. So yeah, that's really nice. I like this pack. I bought it when I was in the UK, like I said, and I paid 30 for it. Which is funny because my neighbor later went to the same shop and she had one with a lot of discoloration on it though, but she paid only £7 for it. So I thought I was cheap, but she had a hell of a bargain, I guess. Yeah, so that's it. A little extra bonus packy. It's it looks a lot like the Dutch one, the Dutch day pack or puckle or sniper pack, however you want to call it. I think, yeah, it's a really nice pack. It's good. Very welcome in my collection. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe and take care. I'll see you in the next one.